I think it is fair to say, Kombat, that Shao Kahn has fallen off very far since the Midway era. This was our first introduction to him, depicted in Mortal Kombat 2, and he was shown to be a towering and intimidating force. This is the first time we're introduced to the character, and as such, he gives a very strong depiction and appearance of his tactical skills and tactical genius. Also, his power is on a completely different level compared to the rest. So I think it's fair to say that the statements made by the NRS era and how he's depicted in the NRS era is completely trash. Mortal Kombat 2 truly introduced him as an intimidating villain. And the story behind Mortal Kombat 2 really sets the statement. Shao Kahn gave Shang Tsung a second chance.
Round 1, fight!
Shao Kahn gave Shang Tsung a second chance, so that is really all that needs to be stated from this whole thing. No other version of the character gave him a second chance. So, yeah. Combatants, this is the story of Mortal Kombat 3. Shao Kahn invades the Earth realm with a scheme he hatched over 10,000 years ago. Shao Kahn created a clone body for Sindel, so her soul could inhabit it in Earth realm. How did he get a clone body created? Well, very simple actually. One of his abilities is to be able to scan any individual so he can make an exact replica of them in any case scenario. He did that to Sindel with the exact same body proportions, and then was able to turn the scan into a clone body he created in Shang Tsung's flesh bits. This story is incredibly dark. He strips the souls of all human life, something no other version of the character was able to accomplish. MK9 completely fumbled. The story is a very dark and sadistic story. In general, Kahn strips the earth of all human life. His plan completely succeeds and he's on the verge of complete victory. He almost accomplished everything, but the from souls were able to be saved, so that's the real benefit of this whole thing. But in general, this is the emphasis we're given for Shao Kahn and how much of an immense powerhouse and presence he has throughout the stories, because he succeeded in this Earthrealm invasion. He was on the brink of victory. And now with this, we move on to Trilogy. Trilogy Attract Mode has a few different details which are meant to be explained. One detail from the Attract Mode is that Shao Kahn himself, the tournament of MK2 was a ruse, a scheme created by the Dark Emperor to break the rules of Mortal Kombat. Allowing his scheme in the background to be truly successful. The tournament is merely a diversion. That is the most important statement of the Trilogy Attract Mode. It was all a part of Shao Kahn's plan. He had a backup plan just in case that this one failed. That's what we need to remember, my dear viewers. Mortal Kombat 2 is where Shao Kahn is first depicted. He's shown to be scheming, conniving, and very plan-headed. He tests Liu Kang in many ways throughout this, and he does not fight anyone directly until they prove themselves worthy enough to face him. And that's what Liu Kang does. He proved himself worthy. He went through many opponents, including only warlords, and Shao Kahn's most powerful warriors, Shang Tsung again, and Kintaro, which he proved his superiority to. The fight between him and Shao Kahn would be very close, and he would become pretty lucky, as Shao Kahn was about to deliver a devastating strike upon him. But then Liu Kang hits him hard enough where he turns to stone and explodes. Another example of Shao Kahn surviving unbelievable odds is him surviving this. How it is possible, is a rare instance of us seeing him teleport. Victory would be short-lived, as in the next game, Shao Kahn would deliver one of the most sadistic and overcomingly powerful, destructive natures we've ever seen throughout the games. He forcibly merged, his backup plan worked completely, and he stripped the earth of all human life. Clear signs that Shao Kahn is not a joke to be taken lightly, and he's a serious threat that you should understand very importantly, as the NRS hero completely fumbles him as a serious threat, and he completely falls off from the once great antagonist he was to a complete joke who completely gets decimated throughout his next appearances. With that, it is time to talk about combatants. As we can see, this is the clear indication of my fight against Shao Kahn in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. The statement that is made here is that Liu Kang and Kung Lao both lost their first fight against Shao Kahn, and Shao Kahn was on the verge of killing Liu Kang until Kung Lao came back and saved him from death. But Kung Lao seemingly died himself, as Shao Kahn puts his fist right through his chest at the end of their battle, and his blood drips down his fingers. Something similar as in MK2, Shao Kahn tore an opponent in half, which was a form of Protector God. And as such, Liu Kang remembers seeing the blood drip down his fingertips. So, it's just an example of his strength and absolutely cunning brilliance. He never joked about Liu Kang, he never didn't take him seriously. He knew that Shang Tsung's failure was a clear understanding of his lack of preparedness and his arrogance. His arrogance was his biggest undoing in Mortal Kombat 2 for Shang Tsung. Shao Kahn did not suffer with this and nearly won this battle. But this is the most important statement around these segments. The fact that Shao Kahn nearly ended Liu Kang, and he did. In the final fight, he came really close to killing him. They were both, Liu Kang was on his knees after getting hit by a significantly powerful strike by Shao Kahn, and he was about to lose this fight. With the last of his strength, he jumped up towards Shao Kahn and uppercutted him right in the face, which caused him to lose control of all the souls he gained during the Earthrealm invasion. Understanding the difficulties of facing Shao Kahn like this is that Shao Kahn is truly a powerhouse of a warrior. And like that, his defeat has come. This explosion was so powerful that the realms were shaken, and yet Shao Kahn still survives. How is it capable for anyone to survive this is beyond me, but it just goes as a statement of his durability. Now the tournament outcome is as expected. Liu Kang is able to defeat Shao Kahn, freeing Earthrealm from his control, and his loss does not depict his end. Yes, Shao Kahn wanted Liu Kang dead most of all, but Kahn's minions have failed to defeat him. Not, of course, the fault of the Emperor. His minions are kind of trash, but that's to be expected. Well, his minions are no match for Liu Kang. And with that, Shao Kahn's defeat at the hands of Liu Kang has... This is the intro to Deadly Alliance.
The forces of good and evil have been locked in eternal battle over the control of Earthrealm. Some seek to use the tournament to destroy all that is good. Others seek vengeance, power, or eternal life. Time after time,
each villain has
threat has been vanquished,
their own
and
goals,
Earthrealm
but
has
Shao
enjoyed
Kahn
relative peace
is
for
certainly
many
above
years.
most of them.
But there is concern that Earth is once again in peril. And this time, the threat of evil has two faces. It is
Most of
now
this
known
doesn't really
that the sorcerer Quan
count
Chi
towards
has
the
escaped
story
from the
we're trying to
Netherrealm.
tell, but...
Since his escape, Quan Chi
Oh, here's
has
a
unlocked
side
the
note.
secret of the ancient rune
Never
stone.
mind.
Discovered the ancient undefeatable army of the long-forgotten Dragon King. And most disturbing of all, formed an alliance with one of our deadliest enemies, Shang Tsung. With their combined strength, they plotted to overpower the only
Deception
two
would
beings
prove
who could
that these two
prevent
were
the
completely
total domination
unsuccessful in
of
their
the
goal.
two realms. The first was the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn. In a false show of allegiance, they sprung their attack.
They killed Liu Kang, but they only killed a clone of Shao Kahn. This is Shao Kahn's bio from Mortal Kombat Deception, and I'll read it to you. My defeat at the hands of the Earthrealm warriors had left me weakened, and my dominance in Outworld was waning. Kitana's forces were closing in. It was only a matter of time before they would overrun my stronghold. Using a powerful magical item I have received long ago by my minions, I created a clone of myself to draw my enemy's attention while I escaped into the wilds. When I have regained my strength, I will destroy all who have opposed my rule. This shows him as extremely tactical and conniving. This shows he is incredibly smart and not to be underestimated. He knew his death was going to be coming soon, so he escaped death. The very Shao Kahn thing to do. Never underestimate the tactical brilliance of this man's intelligence. He is too smart and too powerful to be underestimated. With that, we must move over to Goro's battle. Kitana's army, allied with my Shao Kahn warriors in an attempt to destroy my old master Shao Kahn. It was rumored that he was weakened and that our victory was inevitable. Inevitable. And
that our victory was inevitable. During the last battle against Kitana's warship, however, I was attacked from behind by the Shadow Warrior Noob Saibot. I do not know for how long I lay dying on the battlefield, but when I regained consciousness, I was greeted by the last person I expected to see, referring to Shao Kahn. And that's it for the bios. This shows that Shao Kahn truly has his ways. He came to Goro and promised him and restored him. His restoring of Goro made it so that he would serve Shao Kahn once more. That's the important parts.
I have covered the Midway extensively, so now it's time to start with the NRS era. Whining, and more whining.
Rules that cannot be broken.
My lord!
Chill.
But what if the rules were changed?
Kitana.
A genuine moment of smartness for once. But it's one of the only few moments he has of showing his intelligence. This is trash. He's just sitting there on the phone. Not exactly doing much of any significance, but that's not the important part. That is able to waltz into his throne room without any escort or anything of the sorts. Who allowed this? He's supposed to be the emperor, he's supposed to be aware of everything, but yet he is shown to be a complete moronic fool who has no understanding. He's just letting these guys just walk around in his own domain without any issues, and it just shows his absolute incompetence when it comes down to it. And why is Shang Tsung speaking here? I don't get that part. That doesn't make any sense. You're the Emperor of Outworld. You should be the one who's speaking, not letting your subordinate do all the work. He's not above you, man. You are Shao Kahn, conqueror of realms. The most dangerous threat Earth realm faces. And you're just gonna sit there and let everyone else do the dirty work. Pathetic. And they just hold the tournament like that because Shang Tsung has something to do. Forget about Shang Tsung. You're the Emperor. You do your own business. And where the hell is he going? This doesn't make any sense. Really is crap. To show some compassion in her, he's like, kill her. You gave her a second and then you do that. I mean, it's cool to see that you can still use your dark arts, but still, it just shows a lack of foresight and competence, which he really suffers from in this game. So yeah, my point is my point. Why is he letting Sub-Zero speak to him like this? You're the Emperor. You should have cut him off the second he started saying this stuff and forced him to fight. Not Shang Tsung, it should be you. You should also make the term that understands that he would have to face you after this. now he's still in Quay. Speak to him and they make a deal. One of the few smart things he actually does throughout the story mode, but still it holds up to the incompetence because it's not exactly what I was hoping for. He still just goes along with everyone who just says he's smart. I mean, it's a ridiculously trash depiction for the story. The story mode is really slow. And then he chastises Katana for something she did, and you're the Emperor, man. This was never a problem in the original timeline, but now it's here, because MK9 doesn't attempt to do the original timeline justice, so that's what I'm gonna do. That is just rubbish. And here's where his characterization
I would
is
not disturb
completely
you,
botched
Father, if
in
this
every
matter were not of
possible way.
utmost importance. I felt you should know what Shang Tsung has been doing as of late. This conjurer has created horrid replicas of me, crossbred with Tarkatan blood. One was
I'll
alive
let the clip
and
play
attacked
first
me.
and then discuss what these simply disastrous issues are here and why he truly falls apart.
Well done, sorcerer.
What? Why does this sound like English?
You know. You approve? How could you? My own father.
I am your emperor! Your father was a weakling demon king.
Why would he tell her that?
Annihilated him while merging his realm with our world, and took his queen as my wife. If only I had not allowed Sindel to convince me of her worth. But now I have a true daughter.
Raiden was right. You have lied to me my entire life.
That's right,
Escort her to
he
the
did.
tower. I will make an example of her. Return to the flesh pits. Bring me my daughter.
This is so bloody stupid. What was Kahn thinking with this whole idea? He decides to betray Katana out of nowhere with no evidence. He decides to just betray her based off the fact that she shows a little bit of empathy,
Put forth a
which
worthy
I'll tell you,
champion.
not how it happens in the original timeline. There were many discussions between them of her showing some empathy, but he didn't get rid of her. He tried to have a clone replace her, but it failed.
Perhaps
So
you
that's
meant to
the
be the
way
victim.
simply that goes down. We all know the original story and how this goes. This is also another incredibly stupid decision. Going from him,
You will face Shang
now
Tsung
he announces,
and Quan Chi.
going from him blindly betraying Katana straight off the bat without any reason for doing so.
No Earthrealm.
Also, it's hard not to notice how shorter he seems in comparison. I know they don't get the height right in the official, but he's stated to be over 8 feet tall. Oh no, Kung Lao, watch out! He's raping. Yeah, another example. Why would he just snap his neck? You're the Emperor of Outworld. The expectation is that you would actually kill him in a straight, fair fight. But no, you don't. You just kill him by snapping his neck from behind. That's not even tactical. That makes no sense.
The murderer of my friend.
I am Shao Kahn, conqueror
He
of worlds.
is a fraud.
Taste
No
victory.
emperor
You
would
will
just
take
kill
your own
someone
blood
from
on your
behind
feet.
just because they can. And look at Liu Kang, he barely seems even damaged from the attacks, which is not how the Midway era did it. Liu Kang nearly fails to defeat him.
For Kung
The
Lao,
fight was
the
so close
Shaolin,
between them,
and
and he doesn't
Earthrealm.
even have blood on him. He's got a few marks, but that's really it. And Shao Kahn doesn't even look that injured, by compared to what I think he would look. He's immortal. He shouldn't be suffering such injuries in this most pathetic way possible. And when he's on his knees, he should be Liu Kang's height, because that would be a more better perspective of how this goes. Oh wait, here comes another moment of absolute incompetence.
Melina is his heir. She should rule. Melina? She exists only because of my sorcery.
And you breathe because I restrained.
That was unnecessary, man.
Emperor!
You live. I am not so easily killed. Quan Chi accelerated my recovery.
Emperor!
Not one word. Because of you, Outworld can no longer merge with Earthrealm.
Actually, it's your fault.
There may yet be an alternative, Emperor.
Oh, why don't you have this plan?
Invasion!
Do you mock me? Sindel's ward prevents me from setting foot in Earthrealm.
Have you considered why your wife and Empress chose to betray you in this particular fashion?
Of course. But even after millennia, her motives are a mystery.
Why is it a mystery? This is the main
She
thing that's
realized
holding your
that the
plans back.
safeguards afforded by the Elder Gods
Wait,
for
why is
mortal
Punching
combat
noise?
are but fiction. She sacrificed herself to give protection the Elder Gods could not. So Earthrealm could not suffer as had Edenia.
Indeed.
I have
just goes
mastered
along
the
with
spell
it like
necessary for her resurrection. Her ward will be nullified.
This is
and
a
with it,
terrible
the barrier that
characterization, by
prevents
the
your
way.
entry into Earthrealm.
How does this make any sense?
I will return her to you, of course. You will find her much more cooperative.
This is a very magnanimous offer.
No, this
I
is
wish
trash
only
storytelling
to
right
serve.
here. Shao Kahn is being really
Weary
incompetent.
sorcerers, Quan Chi.
Why would you be weary? You yourself won.
Prove your
So
worth.
that doesn't make any sense.
Bring her to me.
And how does it even work? Her skeleton would have been dust after 10,000 years, so how does that make any sense?
Foolish resistance.
We have now hit the final part, showing how Shao Kahn has become incredibly incompetent in his new timeline
Now,
depiction.
Raiden, your world ends.
Here we are. The Elder Gods finally doing something surprising. I thought they were useless. Much prefer great faith in Yahweh, who actually is doing everything. You see the whole reason we exist. For that, we should praise him. But that's no buts actually. That's besides the story. So let's continue with watching as these useless deities actually do something for once.
Our penalty is clear.
In the third game, they appeared before him and tried to get him to undo his invasion, but he blatantly forces them to back off as
An
he had
anemic
become
effort from
just as
ineffectual
powerful as they
deity.
are.
Today, I become the Elder God.
And if that's not bad enough, he uses logic, which they cannot deny that their rules were not exactly broken. It's a loophole, which they'll prevent next time if it ever comes into effect, but this time they cannot prevent him from executing his loophole. And he fails miserably and dies here. Where he didn't even die, but here he dies. He goes out like a complete idiot. He should have never challenged them, and the Midway Era would never have challenged them if he wasn't certain he would win. He only makes his statements in the Midway Era because he knows they're not going to challenge him, because a battle between them, each of them would be a put each at significant risk. He gambled, and he gambled well, and his gamble was very successful. And Shao Kahn was forever ruined. And if this isn't bad enough, dear viewers, there's one fact of the game. There's one fact. It states that Quan Chi was manipulating him the whole time under the direction of Shinnok, so that means Shao Kahn is completely incompetent and idiotic at all times from the story.
Ancient custom requires all refugees be offered assistance. I offer it to you, Shao Kahn.
I am no refugee. I am Khan of Outworld. Vacate my throne, or I'll soak these sands with your blood.
Well, he gave him an offer of hospitality, and he rejected it like what was expected of him. Injured like that. I've never seen him get injured that quickly, so I don't like that. Also, his fighting style was trash. I already made a video on how this guy does not know how to fight in this game, and this is pathetic. Should have been able to smash that pillar in just a single strike. It's supposed to be significantly powerful. That would not have sent him back to his knees. I mean, he's been hit with that in the original timeline and slightly staggered, but he then retaliates. The midwayer, he was very good at retaliation, but here he just doesn't.
I will have my throne.
Oh, so you stop using your hammer? That's funny.
Empires must expand or die.
He's going at it using wrestling. He's not a wrestler. For those who forget, Shao Kahn in the midwayer actually has two fighting styles. He uses Kaiju in this way, and he doesn't use any fighting styles here. He just used Big Dumb Brute. Also, how did he lose that fight? No, this is the worst. He lost this fight and then... What do you mean to you?
You evade my question. I routed you. Burn this hive.
Why would you ask something that's stupid of her? Why would you question the reason she's helping you?
How is it I'm dead and he sits on my throne?
You tried merging Earthrealm into Outworld.
It was always the dumb decision.
The gods intervened, and Raiden killed you. That's when Melina became Khan.
Oh, he recognizes his death.
Your daughter, Kotal claimed the
You killed Melina? This is true. You will die.
Oh look, you have a new master to bow down to. He shouldn't even be bowing down to anyone. He's his own master. This is so stupid. He should seek to take her power for himself. But no, he won't because he's an idiot.
I am displeased with how history has unfolded.
Broke time.
I stopped time. I enlist all those who disdain the current course of history. By merging past and present, we may draw upon allies from both eras.
How will fighting your battles benefit me?
I offer a greater empire in the new era, Shao Kahn.
He's just gonna go along with it without any evidence.
Wipe Raiden from history.
It is an immense task, requiring great power and effort. My hourglass requires protection while I work.
Why would you test her?
Will your outworld armies defend it?
They shall.
No. Dumb.
You've suffered too long.
Now here's where the incompetence becomes heavy. Instead of just killing him right here and right now, he talks. Yeah, I get it. He likes to give great speeches and all, but seriously, dude, there's someone who's already taken your throne and you need to take it back right now. Don't give a speech. It's more impactful when you just kill him and then give your speech after, calling his era a pathetic disgrace and such. Midway would have just ended him quickly and then gave a speech about it. That's what he would have done. Words are wasted when actions aren't used. These people show up. Let's get this embarrassing display of patheticness over with.
Where's this boldness been hiding? Had you shown it before, I'd have had no need for Melina.
You're the one who told her.
My sister was an unholy monster. Exactly like you, father.
She should not be able to get that close to an action packet. Again, what's with the power scaling? He's a dimensions merger. He states to be around multiversal level, or actually,
Who are you to judge me?
but still, how is he getting injured by fan blades? The OG, he couldn't even be injured by fan blades. Kitana attempted to attack him with fan blades, and they did nothing to him, not even gave him a scratch, not even a bruise, nothing. But here, he's getting absolutely defeated by just about anything. Blades do damage, everything does damage to him. What's with the scaling? He's supposed to be an immensely powerful being, and yet he keeps getting absolutely decimated by the simplest of moves.
Surrender, or face the consequences.
Surrender on the brink of victory. You're as feeble-minded as Jared.
King Jared, the father you murdered and stole me from.
Stupid.
I wanted Jared's wife, not his heir.
That's stupid.
I kept you only to appease your mother.
In the OG, he had her. He kept her because he saw value in her. Here he just doesn't, so he's just stupid. Terrible power scaling. And it also doesn't make sense how he's able to be defeated by Kitana, an individual that in this version of the story isn't able to get out of the grasp of two no-name Tarkatans. This is shockingly poor execution of power scaling. Now, for those who might be confused as getting to this point of the video and not seeing Mortal Kombat 12 included in this story, General Shao is not the same as Shao Kahn. He is a character, he is important to the story, he does have significance and he does job a lot, but he is not the same character. He still is nowhere near the same power level of even the weakest Shao Kahn, which is MK11. So we cannot include him. So because of that, I will not be including General Shao in this video. As such, this is MK11, and that's the end for that. When it comes to the character, he falls short with him, with MK11, MK9, MKDC doesn't count because it doesn't get screen time or anything to do or anything of significance in the story, so that's the point of that. And of course, let's not forget Kombat Annihilation also had a full appearance in the character. So yeah, this is the...
You know I toasted Shinnok, right?
downfall of Shao Kahn in general. He went from a conniving, cunning, tactical genius who only the strongest of warriors can defeat to a dumb brute with no interesting personality, stripped away everything that made him significant and turned him into just another jobber who absolutely gets wrecked.
Is heartbroken.
Why waste tears on weaklings?
That is the significant downfall of Shao Kahn, and without further ado,
Okay, bozos. No
now it
jokes,
is time
no
for the
gimmicks.
wrap-up. Aftermath is certainly a bad display of Shao Kahn. I mean, he still has the brute incompetence of, and I don't think the direct attack plan is the smartest thing to attempt, but at least he's more so feeling more like himself and actually taking actions against someone who would not have his best interest in hand. I mean, he's bodying multiple members of the cast, including Liu Kang, so it does make up for some of the failures that he has in the previous games. Like MK11's base story did the poorest accomplishments for him possible, and yeah, he shouldn't have been tricked by Shang Tsung, that's certainly a fact, but it's the description of the nature of the fact that he is not the same character he used to be, but at least going with the fact that he actually does more and takes actions into his own hands in this version of the events is more significantly important to the story than if he did absolutely nothing and continued to serve like an obedient servant. Now yeah, Shang Tsung does deserve to be significant in certain ways, but he doesn't deserve power by directly attacking his own master and directly defeating his own master, because his master is so significantly powerful that he has zero chance of actually beating him. Like in the Midway era, Shang Tsung can't even steal his soul, because he doesn't possess the power to actually control a soul of that magnitude. It is clear that the NRS era had no intention of respecting the mighty character Shao Kahn is. As you all know, as a content creator, I am a huge fan of the Midway era Shao Kahn because his significance, power, and his intelligence were of far greater veracity than anything else the NRS era did. He was conniving and scheming, evil and manipulative, and he always felt that way. He always felt like an intimidating boss that only the strongest opponent can actually defeat, and his plans were working. He was actually succeeding. He had many conquests, and he was the most significantly powerful of any version of the character. They got him right on the first try. He is one of the few villains in cinema history, in the industry, who actually was right on the first time. How many villains can we speak of that actually are as good as Shao Kahn when it comes to being perfect on the first time they are ever introduced? Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, a lot of others. You can add Wesker into the mix. You can add, I would say, Grand Regent Frag probably. You can add a lot of different characters that have their significance, but Khan's one of the few who actually makes it onto that list. When a villain is so significant that he is done on the first time, and the fans respect him so much that he keeps reappearing, surviving death, and keeps coming back. You think Shao Kahn would have died in the third game. You think that was the end of him for the second game, but he keeps coming back. He is the villain who does not stay dead, and the NRS era kept him dead until Mortal Kombat 11, where he is reduced to where anything that was good about his appearance in Mortal Kombat 9 is completely reduced in every single way. And I know as the fandom goes along, people love Mortal Kombat 9 most of all. But just because they do doesn't mean Mortal Kombat 9 is a good game. It is in fact not. It has many shortcomings, many failures that make it not as good as the Midway era. And Shao Kahn is one of the standouts of not being as good as the Midway era. Now, it is sad to see how far Shao Kahn has fallen from his original incarnation, as he was the domineering force, easily able to destroy any opponent that is in his way. The protector gods and lesser gods of the Mortal Kombat standard are nearly extinct due to the actions of Shao Kahn. He is responsible for killing many of them in combat on his own. Actually, he's responsible for just about all of their deaths, so... all of this, never mind. Let's not try to play coy here. We all know he was the one who did it. We all know every protector and lesser fell by his hands, because who else would? Just a sad realization to see how much Shao Kahn has fallen off. He was the domineering force of the original 3 games, and he still was significant and had plenty of story to go off with. We even know his origin. We get so much from him, and there's so much interesting topics to discuss about him, but now he's just nothing. Now he's just a nerfed loser who constantly gets jobbed. Like, I want this Shao Kahn back. The one that you actually had to use strategy to defeat. I had a battle against MK9, and the only thing I had to do was go up to him and seemingly just combo him. It was not really that challenging for me. I faced the best and I defeated him. But still, that's not the point. Defeating him doesn't make you better than him. He still had me struggling for weeks, and in my most recent attempts, which were at a higher difficulty, it was a month of trying to kick his ass. Shao Kahn is truly the most important villain of the Mortal Kombat era, so... and the fans especially respect him, so reducing him from what he once was to a complete train wreck, this shows that NRS did not care to preserve his legacy. The only thing they cared about is to tell the story. MK9, we'll get into that topic of another video. But at the end of the day, it's just a sad realization to understand that this is where Shao Kahn truly falls off with. He falls off in the NRS era. Midway Shao Kahn was a beast. He was a domineering force and he killed so many opponents. He was an extremely powerful opponent, and his intelligence and incompetence, including his intellect, just shows him to be the best among the villains. No one has made the Mortal Kombat era villains struggling this hard. Well, Shinnok's doing. Shinnok was a downgrade for certain. But when it comes to facing villains back in the day, especially during the Midway era, Shao Kahn was always the toughest among them. That was my struggles, but I've seen many others have struggles fighting him. He's an extremely overpowered character, and well, it's just sad to see his fall.
Round 2. Fight.
In general, combatants, I think it's important. The statement here to be made is that Shao Kahn is no longer the individual he once was. So, without further ado, I would like to close out these segments and discussions about the character of Shao Kahn. He was an important character from the get-go, and seeing his fall is greatly disappointing. So, without further ado, I think we call it here. Always remember, Midway Shao Kahn is peak, and nothing will ever state that will deny that. Denying the peakness of Midway Shao Kahn is definitely not the right option to make. He is the best. Anyways, I want to take this time to thank you all for watching. This video took a lot of work to accomplish, and I really appreciate all the viewers that came here and stopped by. So without further ado, God bless you all.